Did you know that in the UK, 50 shops are closing down every day? And this has been reported by the BBC and other news channels. So this is not something I've just made up or got off some obscure channel. This is fact. This is going on right now. 50 a day. You know, that's thousands of shops every year closing down. Now we know one of the reasons why this is happening is because of the increase in the number of people buying stuff online. We know that this has been, you know, this decline in the high street has been taking place over many years, and you know, even the big shopping malls are also suffering. We saw that last year one of the biggest companies that run these shopping malls was in financial trouble. That was Into, and they run huge malls, you know, with massive tenants like Apple and big stores and this sort of thing, and they were in trouble. And you know, we can look around our own high street if you're in the UK and see that, you know, a lot of them are becoming filled with charity shops or you know, cheap restaurants, cheap kebab houses, fast food takeaways, nail bars, that sort of thing. So the high street has definitely changed from, you know, where you had the butcher, baker, candlestick maker. We don't have that so much now because the big supermarkets have more or less wiped those out. So people now go to a drive-in supermarket where they can park and get everything there, their meat, their fish and their bread and everything. So we know all these trends, but the high street still managed to survive that and seem to be thriving. But I think it looks like it is changing. So what opportunities are going to open up for everybody, for property investors, for instance? Well, there are opportunities to repurpose these old shops, usually with a shop downstairs, a couple of flats above or one flat above. Sometimes it was lived in by the owner of the shop, the owner-operator. Sometimes they're rented out. But there are opportunities to purchase these stores and repurpose them. You can convert them into a number of flats. You can add a floor to the building. You can extend. You can, in some cases, in some smaller secondary streets, you could change it back to a house. It might be worth more as a house or as 2 or 3 flats. So there are a number of things you can do to these, and this is happening. You will see more and more of this. So there's no reason why you, with the right training, could not learn how to do this. If you don't want to do the actual legwork yourself in terms of doing the conversions, you could package those deals off and pass them on to somebody else if you can find suitable deals. Now, there are shops being sold at auction every day, and this is not where you see a shop advertised where it says shop for rent. I'm talking about shops for sale. Obviously, the landlord initially, if they lose their tenant, would try and rent the property out, but it's where the landlords have given up on that and said, right, I've had enough of this. I just want to sell the building. You're looking at wanting to buy the freehold of the building in order to do work on it. You generally can't do that if you're just a leaseholder tenant. So there are a lot of opportunities. Similarly, with a lot of pubs closing down, I went to see property this week, and it was, you know, this old pub in Camden that had long since closed down has been turned into, it looks about 10 or 15 flats, because it was a massive corner building, and they've extended at the back as well. So you can do a lot of things with these properties. Similar thing with offices, where you've got an old defunct office that is no longer fit for purpose. A lot of those have gone, and they can be converted into flats and residentials under permitted development. So there's a lot happening in property, and there's no reason why you can't learn about it yourself. So I'm putting the link there to my free training. This is my free training on managing money, becoming an investor, and learning how to make money and become financially free without working any harder. So have a look at that below. Now, I saw an agent this week with a large, well, I wouldn't say they're a nationwide chain, but they're certainly quite a big chain in London. He said they're having their best month ever. That's in September, when you think things would be quietening down. The stamp duty rush for the end of June is over. There is another stamp duty holiday period where people can save up to £2,500. So a lot of buyers will be looking to complete by the end of this month. But the massive rush that you had in the first 6 months has finished, yet they are having their best month ever in this chain of estate agents in London. They're quite, I don't want to mention his name, but they are having the best ever. So that was quite surprising to me. And I know that they're busy because I can see how difficult it is to get appointments. I can see them rushing off to the next appointment. I can see them, he's getting calls from his colleagues to hand keys over to the property he's just shown because they've got somebody else who wants to see it. So I know things are busy. They're not just exaggerating. Not that estate agents would exaggerate. Of course not, heaven forbid. Why would they exaggerate? No, but I think in this case he has not been exaggerating. They are very busy. And London, of course, saw a bit of a decline during the lockdown where a lot of offices stopped asking staff to come in. So people thought, well, I'll move out to the suburbs. I'll move out to Wales where I can get a big lump of property with land around it. I'll be safe, I'll move to Devon and Cornwall and these because I won't need to go to work anymore. However, I don't know if that's backfired on them because certainly more people are going back into the offices. I've seen it myself, and the figures show that the public transport numbers are up. People are back on the trains and the underground. So more and more companies are asking staff to go back into work. So if you're in Cornwall, you're 300 miles away, I think you've got quite a commute ahead of you and quite an expensive commute as well. But that's another trend. So London, as people are starting to come back, I think interest in London properties going up. And in fact, rents are rising. I was saying this yesterday, that rents are rising across the UK. They bottomed out this year, but they're on the up now. And there seems to be more tenants about as well. So that's good news for London. I think London will always survive. London will reinvent itself, has done over centuries. So London, I think, despite Brexit, despite whatever that hits London, they will always find a way to reinvent itself. And people always like to live in London. Now, I'm also talking about the rest of the country as well. There's a market outside of London, but I was just talking in particular about London. But the rest of the country, rents are rising as well. There's a buoyant property market around the country. If you'd like to learn more about it, then email me or click on my link for my free training, my free wealth training, where you can learn how to become financially free without working any harder. So thanks for listening and have a great evening.